Hey, it's Bill, and hello, I'm Bill Townsend, and I want to be your voice in Congress. So I am north of Ely, Nevada. I'm headed up to McGill, Nevada, driving through a little bit of a dust storm, which is pretty wild. It's amazing to me how good-hearted the people of this area are. Ely, Nevada is a town that reminds me so much of my home area, Western Pennsylvania, where mining used to be so popular and employed generations of American workers. Same with the steel mills. Ely used to have a mine up here. It's been closed down. And the folks here, there's not much in the way of jobs, and certainly not much in the way of industry. They rely on their own true grit to make it every day. They are concerned about our country. They're very, very concerned about our children, our teenagers, the influence of social media and technology, the fact that they see young kids who, even in school, they'll text each other across the classroom or across the hallway instead of just going up and talking to each other. And one of the amazing things, I was up in, let me back up, I was in Brady yesterday, and you've got Great Basin National Park right there, which has had a temporary superintendent for a while now, has one security person for the park, used to have 6, used to have full-time superintendent who was permanently based there. But what happens is that a lot of these folks who are in the employ of our government go to Great Basin, and it's kind of a part-time thing. You're there for a couple of years and you want to get moved up to another park, whether it's a bigger park like a Yosemite or somewhere else, but it tends to be very much kind of a transient park for people to come work in. So it's hard for them to really understand how that park affects the people that live there. What is amazing to me, really, is the grit of these folks. In Brady, for instance, I'm just pulling into McGill. In Brady, for instance, it's a small little speck on the map, but those folks down there, they all know each other, they greet each other. I was having dinner with a couple last night, and it seemed like every time somebody walked in the door, they had to come over and say hi, and you just don't see that too much in Las Vegas. And so it's such a blessing to see that here in the northern part of the state. I really like it up here. There's an old Frosty ice cream stand. My goodness, I really like it up here. It's so much like where I grew up, and at the same time, it's very sad because you see so many closed businesses. Here's an example. Here's just empty businesses. Here's another empty business. There's an empty business across the street, actually 2. And then that looks like an old theater that is no longer in business. Isn't that something? And you've got a McGill Club next door and U.S. Post Office. But right across the street, the family shop's closed down. The other places are closed down. And Old Rexall Drugs. Well, now that's a public museum. Huh. So what happens in these small communities, and unfortunately for them, and this is something where I really want to try to be a good influence in Congress, is these small communities kind of get left behind. Look at this. Here's an old school building. I hope you can see that. Look at that. It's got to be an old school. Right across the street, closed down buildings. But what happens is in District 4, because Las Vegas, the northern part of Vegas, Mesquite, Pahrump, but mostly because Las Vegas has such a big chunk of the voters, they can carry an election. But it's places in rural Nevada that need the most help. And getting out here and meeting these folks and seeing what they're going through and the challenges they have on everything from water rights and land rights to their ability to get legislators to pay attention to them is something that I'm going to commit myself to doing, because this is the backbone of America. These are the people who are, man, they're good-hearted, hardworking people up here. And they need help, because what I see when I come through McGill right now is a town that looks to be on its last legs. Nearly everything is just closed down. The roads out here need some work. They're not bad, but they do need work. I'm sure the infrastructure needs work. And quite frankly, I don't think these people get enough attention from the state of Nevada nor the federal government. And the attention they need isn't federal government's involvement. The attention they need is they need the federal government to uphold what it's supposed to do, which is ensure that people have good, clean water and highway systems that work and good educational systems. And God, it's God bless these folks. I mean, it is just sad to drive up in here and see how industry has just disappeared from these areas. I'm right now I'm driving up behind a church and the old school. I'm trying to get to what appears to be an old plant, and I don't know what this is, but it looks like it's been shut down for quite a while. Not sure how to get up into it. So bear with me as I get up here. I want to show you some of this stuff as I go, because this is you know, look at this. Look at this building. Now here's a building. I don't know if it's owned by somebody locally or what, but it's all boarded up. Here's some more buildings back here, all boarded up. This looks like some type of an old mill site. There's a little fire station up there, an engineering building. And you look at this, and at one time, this probably employed hundreds of people. And look here. Look at the old train station. Oh my heavens. My goodness. This is what America is all about. America was a country, and I'm going to talk about this for the young people who are watching. If you go back 100 years, 50 years even, America was a country where we built stuff. We had steel mills, coal mines, silver mines, ore, and we leveraged the hardworking men and women so that we could build new things. We built airplanes, we built battleships, we built railroads. This might, you know, I bet this is the old Kennecott copper mine. I'm just not sure how to get there. But we built things. And a lot of young folks today, your idea of building something is making an app. And I got to tell you, as one of the guys that started commercializing the internet, one of my great disappointments is where the internet has gone. It has become a place where it's just a lot of scamming takes place, phishing, phishing, and just not good things, not what it could have been. And unfortunately, because of that, a lot of young people think that the way to make it in this world is to build an app. So, you know, learn how to program and build something, or figure out a way to displace current industries. Yeah, this has got to be the old copper mine. I want to show you this. I'm going to have to stop here because this is something else. But we used to make stuff. We used to build things in this country. We used to do things that most other people around the world could never imagine being done. Let me see if I can show you this. But look at this. This is a pretty big facility up here on the hill. Can you see that? Now, why can't we leverage what we know in the federal government to be able to take an old site like this, refurbish it, and create jobs for people? It isn't that hard to do, especially in a state like Nevada, where the military plays such a key role in what we have as an economy. There's no reason why we can't find these old facilities like this and they end up being pretty good places for machining and even for technology if we have the bandwidth here to create technology opportunities. So as I drive through these areas, I see this, and it strikes me that part of the problem that we've had is that the representatives from the last 3 terms in Congress in Nevada District 4 have ignored these areas. So my pledge to you today, right here, right now, is if I'm elected your congressman to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives, I'm going to put a field office in Ely, and we're going to leverage that location. We're going to also do it on the western side of the state, but we're going to leverage that location to look at ways that we can get the federal government to help these communities. And if we can accomplish 2 or 3 key things that can strengthen these communities, then my mission is going to be done. And somebody asked me why I call it my mission, because for me this isn't a job. If I wanted a job, I'd just stay in my current companies. This is a mission. This is a mission to look for ways to improve our country, and especially our state of Nevada. And I want to see these places grow again. I want to see these places be places where your kids can stay and have their life here if they want, not that they have to leave. I hate the idea that young people are the greatest exports of these small towns because there's nothing here for them. We need to make it so that these guys can stay here if they want, they can thrive, they can raise their families here. The old Frosty stand. Here's the old Frosty stand. Let me show you that. You don't see places like that too often anymore. Now, probably 30 years ago, that was one happening joint. So we're going to work really hard to make sure that small towns in Nevada get the attention they need. And I think one of the key things we can do is commit to have a field office right here in Ely that's going to serve this whole area. And we're going to make sure that from here all the way down to Lincoln County, everybody has access to me. So if you're going to be in White Pine, you're going to be in Lincoln, you're going to have access to me, because this is like the area I grew up in. I'm not going to let you guys suffer any more than you already are, because people ignore you out here. And on one hand, it's good that the government ignores you, but on the other hand, there are a lot of opportunities to work to bring some industry up here, to bring some jobs, so that your kids have a great future and they can stay here in places like McGill and Ely, and they can be assured that they are going to not be left behind. Yeah. Look, I gotta turn this around. Look how beautiful this is. Tell me that is not some of the most beautiful land you've ever seen in America. Wide open spaces, snow-capped mountains. I mean, it's just gorgeous up here. So, I've really enjoyed my time up here. I'm going to come back and see you guys in a few weeks. Amazing country and amazing people. And I'm going to fight for you. You have my word on it.